Alright, so we got how did each Primarch treat their brothers? So it's a video.
Hey guys and gal, brothers and sisters, but for this example, mostly brothers, can be a gigantic pain in the ass. They can bully you, beat the shit out of you, and gaslight you, all the while manipulating your parents into thinking that you were the problem all along.
True.
Just ask my little brother who hasn't returned my calls in 3 years. Primarchs are no different. I mean, you'd think they would be, considering they're supposed to be wise demigods, but no. If anything, they are worse. Pettiness, jealousy, and the constant dick-measuring contest.
Except for Vulkan and the Salamander. Sorry. You know, listen, if you're new here, sorry about that, but if you're a regular, you know.
As staple aspects of the Primarchs' relationships with each other. But it's not all bad. Amongst all the mess, there is brotherhood, or at least there was until half of them decided to sell their souls to the forces of hell. Today I'll go over each of the Primarchs' relationship with his brothers. We will detail their relationship up until and during the earliest stages of the Horus heresy, before everyone started becoming big-ass demons that are incapable of having a relationship with anything. I'll also avoid repeating myself. Hence, if Dorn and Guilliman have a relationship, I won't repeat the same talking points when I get to both Primarchs.
Okay.
Let's get
into it! Here we go.
Starting us off with the Lion, because, you know, #1, baby. The Lion was a bit of an autist.
Vulcan's #1. Sorry.
While he had an aura of command and power, greater than all of his other brothers, he couldn't read or understand people very well. Sending away Luther was a stupid idea, as it just festered Luther's jealousy and resulted in the destruction of Caliban. Trusting Perturabo with super weapons was stupid, as it resulted in the traitors using said super weapons. You get the idea.
Yeah.
As such, the Lion wasn't exactly the most loved by his brothers. He was respected, but not loved. Guilliman didn't like how cold and ruthless he was.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know what? Like, looking at, like, their jobs, I mean, bro, like, listen, they're supposed to be leaders. So at the end of the day, I mean, like obviously, like, and listen, you guys know I troll a lot, whatever, da-da-da-da. But, like, Vulkan, he was loved. Like, Vulkan was a strong, loved, you know, leader. You know, I think he's like the exception. You know, like, no trolling. You guys know I troll a lot, whatever. But, like, no troll. I think Vulcan's like the exception because he was loved, but at the same time, like, he was strong as well. Like, you know, he still, like, laid it down. Pause. But, like, whenever it comes to, like, you know, like the Lion and stuff like that, I mean, bro, he's just there to, you know, he's there to do business. I mean, bro, he's a leader. I mean, he probably doesn't, like, have that loving, I don't know, attitude or whatever, but at the same time, but he's the Lion, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Even snapping the Lion's sword in a fit of rage, when the Lion bombed Ultramar planets to try kill Conrad Curse. Leman and the Lion have an intense rivalry as a result of the biggest punch-on in the galaxy. A rivalry so intense that even 10,000 years later, whenever Dark Angels and Space Wolves meet, they pick a champion each to fuck each other up. The Lion viewed this rivalry in an unhealthy manner though, even impaling Leman on his sword after the Siege of Terra in a fit of rage.
Oh wow.
The Lion clearly trusted Perturabo as he gave him the super weapons, but the Lord doesn't go into their relationship much, and it goes without saying that Conrad Curse and the Lion were sworn enemies. After all, they fought like 4 times. The Lion also held some resentment
so
against
they're kind of like
Horus,
rivals in a way, okay.
He was deserving of the War Master title, not the big bold man. Primarch 2 has no relationship with his brothers because he literally got deleted from history and everyone's memory.
Bro, bro, yo, GW, we need some type of, bro, I actually like Will Smith a lot. Bro, GW, we need some type of, like, video or, like, extra DLC of, like, Primarch 2 and 11. I'm gonna be honest with you. Cause like that's really messing me up. Bro, give us something, bro. They just like, oh, these 2 are just gone or whatever. Give me something. Give me like a little DLC or a part or something.
I'm not talking closed program. I'm talking end task. Fulgrim, before he became a disgustingly cringe rape snake, was actually a solid bloke with a few decent brotherhoods with his Primarch siblings. You wouldn't pick it, but Ferris and Fulgrim were the closest out of all the Primarchs. This started when they performed a contest to see who could forge the greatest weapon. When they were finished, they declared the other's weapon greater, and they gifted their crafted masterpieces to each other. From there, their friendship bloomed. Ferris admired Fulgrim's nobility and effectiveness, whilst Fulgrim was in awe of Ferris's tenacity and, you know, his shiny hands. They understood each other on a very deep level, so it was a massive shame when Fulgrim picked up that dick-shaped sword and was slowly but surely corrupted by Slaanesh. A part of the corruption is that he no longer enjoyed banter, seeing Ferris's jokes as insults and slights rather than the light-hearted fun that they were intended.
Yeah, he took
this
it serious.
relationship was destroyed when Fulgrim declared his allegiance to Horus and betrayed the Emperor. Ferris was enraged and swore to kill Fulgrim. Well, oaths are overrated, and sometimes swearing just isn't enough, as Fulgrim then proceeded to cut off Ferris's head. Apart from this, Fulgrim didn't like the Khan much, seeing him as a savage and getting angry when the Khan hit him with the slickest burn in all of Warhammer 40k. Fulgrim also mentored Conrad, but was not very good friends with him, as he told Rogal about Conrad's secrets, which caused a bit of a domestic dispute.
This all sounds like high school drama.
Perturabo was isolated and alone, not particularly
man.
well liked due to his own attitude and self-loathing. In saying that, he had a lot of respect for Horus as well as Fulgrim for their efficiency. And if we know anything about Perturabo, efficiency gets his dick harder than a fossilized dildo. Perty resented Dorn as he believed himself the superior builder, yet Dorn got the favor and love of the Emperor. The Khan was an outsider, a rogue, hence he didn't have many notable relationships with his brothers. When the heresy started, he and Mortarion
Didn't he love his brothers, but his brothers didn't love him? Was that it?
actually become nemesis, mostly because Morty wanted the Khan's help in stopping the traitor legions from going all batshit demon mode, and the Khan told him to get absolutely fucked. Khan would also go on to insult Fulgrim for being a bitch, and was admired by Sanguinius for his zero fucks given attitude. Leman hated Angron due to the battle they had with each other, well prior to the Horus heresy. When Angron was being, Angron, Leman was sent to reel him in. Angron refused, and the two legions fought. Leman baited Angron into a kill zone by allowing Angron to get the upper hand in their duel.
It's so crazy because bro, all these guys are like legit brothers, and they're just like they're willing to kill each other like that. That's like the more you think about it, like you're like, dang, like, like if you really put it in human form, like, dang, like these guys really are just trying to kill each other, and they're brothers, literally.
Angron, once again being Angron, didn't even realize he had been totally outplayed, and he was willing to keep fighting even though it was going to kill him. Leman didn't want to kill his brother though, even though he could have, so he withdrew his forces. As mentioned before, Leman has his rivalry with the Lion. However, despite the Lion being a bit of an asshole about the rivalry, knocking Leman out and even stabbing him at one point, Leman viewed it in a more healthy manner, seeing it as a bit of silly fun. Beyond that, Leman despised Magnus and his use of the warp, almost
Really?
fighting Magnus well before the Horus heresy broke out. During the heresy, it was Leman who broke Magnus's spine and was ready to kill him, despite the reality being that Leman was devastated he had to attack his own brother. Leman's just the big softie. Rogal Dorn was universally respected, except by, Perturabo. This was due to how straight and direct Dorn was. The man was incapable of lying and had a beautiful track record during the Great Crusade, not only conquering worlds, but erecting great fortresses on them to consolidate the Imperium's gains. In saying that, Dorn hated Conrad, seeing him as a madman. It didn't help that
No. Hey, I'm gonna be honest with you, and you guys will know in the later video, but I don't like Conrad either. I don't like him either. You'll see in my in the last video that goes up today. You'll see. I promise you'll see.
Conrad attacked Dorn and disemboweled him, almost killing him. Speaking of the devil, Conrad was universally despised. He was seen as insane and deranged. His use of horrific war crimes was very off-putting for a lot of his brothers, and even Horus had a hard time with him. Vulkan, Dorn, and the Lion hated him especially. Vulkan because Conrad tortured the shit out of him, killing him 1,000 times, Dorn because Conrad attacked him, and the Lion because they fought to near death multiple times. Conrad was very jealous of Corvus Corax. The Raven Lord also had black eyes and pale skin, also favouring stealth operations. Conrad saw them as similar, yet Corvus was superior because he wasn't fucking crazy. Sanguinius was universally loved and admired. Even Conrad had begrudging respect for him. He had a close, intense bond with Horus, trusting him completely and fighting alongside him countless times. As he was pro-Psyker, he also found himself as one of Magnus's few friends, whilst even the Khan and Sanguinius were able to spark a friendship. It wasn't that he was so perfect that people hated him, it was that he was so perfect that it was impossible to do so. I mean perfect other than the fact that his sons turn into space vampire berserkers sometimes, but
it is what it is, yeah.
Sanguinius was seen as a natural replacement emperor if the Imperium was to fail. As mentioned, Ferris had his legendary bond with Fulgrim, the greatest bond out of all the Primarchs. Aside from that, Ferris was universally respected. When Horus turned traitor, he was genuinely upset that Ferris didn't join his cause, as he believed that if he did, it would have been the easiest victory ever. Ferris also crafted numerous powerful weapons for his brothers, including a gun for Vulkan and Lorgar's mace.
Oh man,
He
shout out to him,
respected
man.
Vulkan's legendary craftsman abilities, but the two weren't very close. Ferris was
That's
also
okay.
a bit of a cold and hardcore guy, not the easiest to get to know and get close with. Plus he died pretty early on in the heresy, so not as much room to explore his relationship as others. Primarch 11 had just as many friends as Primarch 2, so absolutely fucking none.
Yeah.
Loser. Angron was hated by nearly all his brothers. He was seen as a savage berserker, hell-bent on
But we know his story, so I'm not gonna go out. I mean, he was a, let's just call Angron let's call him an artificial crash out.
destruction and taking lives rather than the Emperor's vision for a united galaxy. Even when he joined Horus, he still saw the War Master as a fake-ass bitch. He literally tried to fight nearly every single loyalist Primarch at one point or another. The only brother he began to form a bond with was Lorgar. The two Primarchs tore through Ultramar together, forming a respectful bond. Lorgar tried to show Angron a better way of thinking, which Angron dismissed. However, Angron did save Lorgar from getting crushed by a Titan, so there's that.
Okay.
Guilliman wasn't the most emotionally in touch Primarch, yet he did have a short list of Primarchs which he named his Dauntless Few. Primarchs who he saw as incredibly reliable and that he could win absolutely any war with, no matter the odds. These Primarchs were Rogal, Sanguinius, Guilliman, and Ferris. They weren't necessarily the best Primarchs, but they were the ones that Guilliman saw as the most reliable and synergized the best with his legion. When Lorgar, that fuckhead pedo, taunted Guilliman
Oh
by
my
telling him
God.
that Vulkan, Corvus, and Ferris had all been killed on Istvan, Guilliman mourned all of his brothers. However, he said that he would miss Ferris the most. Guilliman was one of the Primarchs who greatly admired the Khan, but he did not really trust him.
Okay.
Mortarion was a bit of a salty bitch, super hypocritical and kind of a dumbass. He also smelled like absolute shit, hence never made many friends. By opposing the use of psykers, he pushed away brothers he admired, such as the Khan. When the true nature of the traitor legions was exposed, Morty was like, fuck. He hated psykers and he fought against their use and the warp itself, but now he found himself surrounded by demons, sorcerers, and all the kinds of shit he said he didn't like. He had two options: turn his back on the traitors or become a massive hypocrite.
I'm turning mine
He
back.
chose to become a hypocrite, and as literally every wise man has said about 100 times, nobody likes a hypocrite.
Yeah,
Magnus
true.
was quite a polarizing figure. His brothers either loved him or hated him. And
Isn't this like the this guy? He's like the 1,000 Sons. He's like the leader of like the 1,000 Sons, right?
Psycho Primarchs, such as Lehman and Morty, wanted to slap his ass so hard that it wouldn't even be read anymore, whilst scholarly Primarchs, such as Lorgar and Perturabo, got along with Magnus like a house on fire. Magnus respected Horus and even tried to save him from chaos, but pretty much everything Magnus does fails miserably, so
Wow.
there you go. Horus was universally admired. His charisma was second to none and was considered to be his Primarch power. He was the only one capable of forming a bond with Alfarius, whilst many Primarchs, such as Lorgar and Fulgrim, looked up to him and were as close as brothers could be. It's Horus's intense connection with nearly every Primarch that allowed him to be able to get so many of them to sell their souls to the forces of hell. Horus was mad during the Horus heresy that all the shit Primarchs joined him, whilst all the good Primarchs he admired stayed loyalist. Lorgar wasn't a very popular Primarch. His preachy Jehovah Witness bullshit was very off-putting. In saying that, he was good friends with Magnus and he looked out for Angron, until he, turned Angron into a demon and ruined his life. He intensely hated Guilliman for raising his favourite city after the Emperor wanted to teach Lorgar a lesson. Eventually, he grew to regret his hatred of Guilliman as he
You can't hate the replacement to your assign. Like, bro, that's like me being a teacher, right? And like, and like my job is to, pass like everybody in the class. So like my job is to like, teach these kids to pass like the final big test at the end of like the year or whatever. And like everybody fail. At that, bro, it's literally my fault. I can't hate on like the, replacement teacher that's coming in that can teach better than me. I can't hate on them. Like, that's stupid.
realized that Guilliman didn't want to destroy the city, but did so to follow his father's orders. By then, it was
Gotta hate
far
the
too late
kids.
for reconciliation, though. Like, way too late. Lorgar is also scared of Corvus, having been brutally beaten by him twice now. Vulkan was well liked by his brothers. The Emperor even said that Vulkan's greatest power was his humanity and kindness, as long as you weren't an Eldar child standing in front of a flamethrower. Vulkan did have the suppressed rage of a dragon though, beating the shit out of Conrad Curse before telling him he always took it easy on him during sparring.
He always took it easy, bro. Always. You bum. He always took it easy on you. Are you stupid? Are you dumb? He always took it easy on you. You were never competition to him. You didn't know that? That's what he told me. Every time he got done destroying you and he took it easy on you, he would come back. Yeah, bro. Yeah, he's trash. Yeah, bro. But I really take it easy on him. I use like 5% of my power. But yeah, that's what Vulkan told me. You didn't know that? Ah, man.
Because
Tough.
he was so pathetic. Oofda. Despite his loving nature, Vulkan doesn't seem to have a particularly close bond with any of his brothers,
Why would he?
preferring to spend more time with his sons.
Why would he?
Corvus Corax was a bit of a loner goth emo kid.
Yeah, we know, man. We know these people, man. The emo. Man, listen. I'm not gonna judge nobody, but I already knew he was like one of the little emo brothers. You know, he put the makeup on and paint his nails and stuff like that. He was definitely like the what is it, alternative or whatever, or like the alternate brother. Yeah, he was definitely, yeah.
As such, his friendship circle was very small. He admired Guilliman's tactical genius, and he resented Horus for using his legion as an extension of the Lunar Wolves. When the heresy kicked off, he raged at Lorgar, killing most of his Gal Vorbak and disembowelling him.
Oh, wow.
Conrad would save Lorgar, but Corvus and Lorgar would meet again, both in their demon forms, and to absolutely nobody's surprise, Corvus would fuck up Lorgar's shit once again. It's theorized that the reason why Lorgar has been out of the setting for so long is that he's been hiding from Demon Corvus.
Really?
And finally, Alfarius.
Scared to come
Alfarius
outside.
has Alfarius as a friend, whilst he despises Alfarius the most. That's okay though, because he has Alfarius to back him up. So take that, Alfarius, you cuck. In seriousness, Alfarius and Horus were mates, whilst Alfarius and Guilliman disliked each other, mostly because Guilliman thought the Alpha Legion were a bunch of pansy-ass bitches. Primarch relationships are always a joy to read about. Rivalries, brotherhoods, and bloodshed is always a huge vibe. If I've missed any Primarch relationship or opinion, then throw them down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the
shout out to Majorkill for this, man. Obviously, I mean, well, I could have easily told you guys like about the Vulkan. When I told you guys at the beginning of the video, like all of his relationships and stuff like that was absolutely amazing. But like, bro, I'm not surprised that he wasn't like next to any of his brothers. Like, why would, bro? All of his brothers are just meanies. Like, bro, why would he be next to them? Of course he'll be like, next to me and all of his sons and stuff like that, because like, we're just like him. Like, we look up to, to our sweet, glorious King Vulkan. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe if you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys next route.